It's January 2023, and I'm sitting in my mobile office, which is my RV that I've set up, and I've got like a background and everything, so people can't really tell I'm in an RV in a Starbucks parking lot. And I'm waiting to get on a Zoom call, and I'm super excited about this call because I'm joining a board for the first time as an independent board member. So the boards I've been on previously, I was always serving in an executive capacity, and this is the first time I'm being brought in as an outsider for my expertise and my experience to join this board. So I'm super excited. I'm on the call waiting, kind of using the camera like as a mirror, and then I'm always like, my social anxiety is like, is everyone else on the call watching me do this? Like as I'm fixing my hair. And I knew before I got on that there was gonna be some tension on this board. I'd kind of been given that heads up. So the company had recently been invested in by private equity, a minority investment, and there's pretty much a divided board. And had a lot of experience that was going to be beneficial to the organization, but there's going to be some tension because there was already tension on the board before I had joined, and I was being invited and joining a side that was against the private equity side. So a couple weeks before, I send over my resume, I send over my collateral, my bio, and just some bullet points as to how my experience will really help this organization where they're at, because there was a lot of similarities from where they were at to where we were at Simpler. So I get on this call, I'm really excited. We get on, you can definitely feel, like even virtually, you can feel the tension in the room. And they go through some motions that I'm not participating in because I'm a new board member. And we get to a motion to nominate me as a board member. And the CEO and founder said, we sent over materials last week. Did you all have a chance to review them? And no one responds. It's like super awkward. And so she's like, okay, well, this is Britt Burns-Hiller, and starts going into my background and my credentials. And as she's doing so, one of the gentlemen on the board interrupts, and he goes, Britt, I'm sure you're a very nice girl, but you have no real operating experience. And so I pause. And I lean, so up to this point, I've been a silent observer, right? Because I'm new, I have really nothing to say. You guys are voting on motions I can't vote on. So I pause, I lean forward and I mute myself. And I say, John, his name's not John, but I say, anonymity. I say, John, I know you haven't had an opportunity to review the materials that I sent over, but when you do, you'll see that I recently took a company from 13 million to 40 million in revenue, from 30 employees to over 100 with a 97% retention rate in Austin, Texas. We won multiple awards for being one of the best places to work. And we had an exit for 14x EBITDA, and I was able to keep those margins through all of that growth. And since you guys are going through a cultural transformation, that's where the division in this board is coming from, and how to scale the team and how to manage the team that you guys have. You guys are at 13 million in revenue, and you're looking to exit between 40 and 50 million top line. I think I actually have a lot of applicable experience that would help this organization. And so I stop. Thank you. So I mute myself again, and I kind of like, sit back, and I get a text from another board member. She's like, hell yeah, Britt. And I'm like, yeah, got it. Mic drop. And so board meeting just continues to go on. Like no apologies, no recognition of like, what the hell? Like, wasn't a cool thing to say. No, nothing. And I mean, the only person harder to get an apology out of than an attorney is a private equity partner. And so we go on the call and we get off. And I had this moment of reflection. I remember I called Amy Jo, pretty much right away to tell her, because I realized what the difference was that how I responded was so different than how I would have responded even 6 months earlier. I had really recognized that a little of the being seen as the nice girl with no experience, being seen as the youngest at the table, coming from a trailer park in West Virginia, having an education that isn't, maybe one of the Ivy League schools, however I'm being underestimated, I realized I could use that to my advantage. And I could not only use that to my advantage in terms of watching and being able to hear and listen in these meetings, and then when I say something, it's so much more powerful, but also I could help other women learn how to do this and how to play the game. And that's really what brought me so much passion and brought me over to where I'm at now, which is at Renegade, because I realized being able to reinvent my relationship with my emotions and how I process what's coming in at me and how much I hold weight and value in that and allow it to determine what my reaction is, because that interaction could have gone a very different way, right? Like I could have frozen up and like gotten teary-eyed and gotten scared. I could have reacted and been like, you didn't even take time to read this. Like I've got plenty of experience. But I felt so proud and so like in my power and the way I responded, and I was like, that is my superpower. And that is all of our superpowers, because that is something that going through this process twice now of exiting companies, I realized the inability to control emotion isn't coming from us. It isn't. It's coming from the men at the table. It's coming from people that are screaming, that are raising their voices, that's how banging on the table because that's how they get what they want. And so being able to control our emotions and being able to recognize them and respect them, but also control the reaction, really has become my superpower. And I'm really excited to help teach other women how to do that as well. So thank you all. I really appreciate it.